My friend Emily just texted me right now. Your friend Devin has the cutest Insta.
Oh.
That's so cute.
Elaborate.
How so?
Tell me more.
Tell me more.
So you think I'm cute?
Are you doing your makeup right now?
Jesus Christ. Guys, I have the best news.
Tell us.
Oh my god, what?
I'm obsessed with Severance. Obsessed. Like,
Okay.
obsessed. We finished season 1 last night.
I told you.
No, so turns out we only watched 1 episode.
Oh my god.
So I logged into Apple TV and I was like, oh, we only watched 1. Like, maybe we should rewatch that. So I alone started watching the first episode, and then Cam came home and he was like, oh, let's just restart it. And I was like, okay. First episode, I was like, this is not boring whatsoever. Like, I'm confused why I even thought that at all from like the beginning episode.
That's so
Thank
good.
God, I was concerned.
Yeah, we stayed up till 1 a.m. last night finishing season 1.
Isn't the end of season 1 so fucking good?
And I knew because like also I knew spoilers, so I was like, I didn't know if
When
it
they were
would
gonna
be
come
as
up.
good.
So you know about Miss Casey? Or
Yes,
you
that was
knew-
like the
yeah,
one thing I
Gemma.
knew was Miss Casey and Gemma. I did not know the Helly.
Oh my
Bean
god,
was
I
there.
know,
I did not
right?
know that. So that was fucking crazy.
I know.
So crazy.
Ugh.
And then I just love like all this little psychological things that I didn't even like notice, like till TikTok sort of thing of like
Yeah.
Ivor, what's his name? Ivan?
Milchick?
Irving?
Irving.
Irving. God, yeah.
Irving. Yes.
I love Irving.
How when Miss Casey was telling him like you love the sound of radar, and then his dog's name is Radar.
Oh my god, yes. I'm gonna watch it again because I'm obsessed right now too.
Kind of cool.
So then I'll like notice more things. But like I have such a crush on
Helly
and Gemma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gemma's
them
character in real life is like, she seems so cool.
Oh yeah, just wait till you get to episode 7.
Well, like all her like outfits and stuff, like for press, have been really amazing.
Yeah.
I don't really want to see like all of these things, like, you know, like the TikTok edits and everything, like, or like the behind the scenes of like this is how this is or whatever. Like they're interesting, but I don't want my whole feed flooded with them because I watched like 2 maybe. And my entire feed started becoming like all of these, and I'm like, okay, these are kind of cool, but like I want my regular content, so I like started saying not interested. But I'm curious if I like watch it again, like what?
Yeah, because I knew like the Miss Casey thing and Gemma thing. So like there was a part where I'm forgetting all these people's names. Miss Cobell.
Yeah.
Yes. When she told Mark's sister, she was like, does Mark ever think he sees his wife in public? Like, I always think I see my late husband. Like, just little things like that. Where I was like, oh, like that was definitely foreshadowing. But
yeah.
So crazy. And I was listening to the podcast and stuff. And
the
fact that they recorded the Severance podcast. Because I was listening to it before.
There is a Severance podcast?
Yeah, they recap
with
every single
Ben
episode.
And I always want to call Adam Scott Mark because his last name is Scout, so it's like
really close.
Sounds like Scott.
Yeah, that's so funny. But they filmed rather than filming like in order, which is typical, I guess, with movies and stuff. They filmed based on like the set, so like everything in the sister's house and brother's house. They filmed that all like first. So like when filming the last scene from episode 9, that was like one of the first scenes that they ever filmed. Like that's so crazy.
That is crazy.
Wait, that's insane. But I guess like because Ben directed every single episode, right?
The first 3 and the last
season.
3.
Oh, okay. Because he didn't direct
season
them
1.
all in season 2.
That's kind of crazy that they were able to like get together with like all of the people and like make those decisions, because I feel like that's very typical of a movie to like film out of order. But
that would be so hard as an actor. Like I just don't even know how you could do that. And you'd have to know the full story, like the whole.
You'd have to
story.
really like be studying everything.
Yeah.
Especially
so I don't know how the
in
fuck
the 9th episode, they're like interactions and stuff are so different than like the first one, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Like how could you even plan all of that out in advance?
Apparently Dylan doesn't even read the script, he just reads his lines. Like memorizes his parts. Yeah.
Oh, that's surprising too, because I mean he does so good.
Mm-hmm.
And then Irving, like, oh my god, it's just heartbreaking. Like, I can't believe that you had to wait so long to watch season 2. Like, we finished at 1 a.m. and I was like, should we start season 2?
That's how we were. Especially because Joe, like, waited, I think, for 2 or 3 episodes for me to, like, catch up to start the next one. So he was, like, rewatching them with me, but he just had to, like, wait for me to finish that episode.
Oh my god.
But it was so nice to be able to just, like, get through. Like, it would have been torture.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm excited.
You just kind
Hopefully
of start
I'll finish
forgetting
season
about
2.
it.
Yeah. That makes sense. That does happen.
It sucked when
It's very interesting. And the podcast was super interesting of, like, I like learning more about shows and movies behind the scenes of, like, scouting locations even or things like that. It was interesting.
Yeah.
Where was it shot?
In New Jersey.
So
And it was that building, the Lumen building. It has never, like, nobody else has ever shot there before. So it's, like, very one of a kind.
That's really cool.
I need to kick this cat out of here. He's driving me nuts.
He's very rubby.
This weekend, I developed a gardening obsession. I haven't, like, started, but I'm, like, in the planning process.
Like gardening,
landscaping.
Like smoking weed or that would be so funny. She's like, I haven't actually started, but I'm planning out my process of starting.
This is why I'm, like, so excited because I've tried like 2 seasons of, like, vegetable gardening, and I think it's like too much maintenance and it's too much waiting. It's, like, too prolonged of a process because like, especially here, and I guess I could start stuff indoors, but, like, that's just a lot to coordinate. Like, I didn't get, like, my cherry tomatoes or, like, my peppers until, like, end of August or, like, August. So I'm, like, just sitting here, like, May through July with, like, nothing. I'm just, like,
you have
watching
to, like, continue to upkeep them too when they're not, like, producing
watering
anything.
them, like, checking their soil, like, making sure everything's fine, and then, like, we get hailstorms, so, like, making sure they're protected, like, all those things.
So is it people who start earlier inside, then that makes them ready for May or whatever?
I think it must be. I don't really know. I don't understand, like, how these people are just, like, I'm also gardening, like, on my deck, and so, like, I think that's also hard because there's not very many, like, spots in my yard that are, like, the right sun exposures for garden vegetables. But I found this site. It's called Gardenia, and it gives you, like, a breakdown of, like, if they're perennial, so they come back every year, how much care and maintenance they have, what type of soil you can plant in, and, like, you can just kind of drill down all of these things. So I found, like, a bunch of, like, plants that will come back every year. I want, like, more privacy screens, but I want them to be, like, flowering. So, like, I don't see people in my backyard and stuff. But so I found, like, bushes that grow really big, but they, like, flower. And then
beautiful.
It's just, they have, like, this whole planning tool as well.
Flower approach than a vegetable approach this year.
Yes. I think a vegetable, not like a vegetable, a flower bush, like, long-term thing where it's like, maybe I don't plant everything this year, but at least I start it. So it can, like, kind of get bigger.
You should do, like, a giant hydrangea bush or something. I'd love those. We want to do that in our front yard.
I would love a hydrangea bush. I just don't know if, like, I have the right things for it to be successful.
Yeah, I don't know.
But this is the other thing, is they have, like, so a Chinese snowball is a plant that looks like a hydrangea, and it's really similar looking, but they have, like, all of these different plants, and, like, gives you so much information on, like, how to go about everything. So
what? Do you have to pay for it?
Like, if you want to use the planning tool, it's like $25 for the year. So it's, like, nothing. But,
not bad.
If you want to just do the research, it's just there. It's free. Like, you can look up plants and everything.
That's so cool.
But I'm just, like, excited to find stuff that's, like, more, it's just, like, low maintenance, but it, like, looks pretty. So I want to start that.
That's cool. I just accepted a quote to have my backyard redone, but they
accepted it.
Yeah, they gave me a quote, and then I was going to, like, shop around and get other quotes, but I was like, this is way cheaper than I thought it was going to be. I'm just going to start here. So it's going to be, like, a lot of turf, and then I'm going to have, like, a pad in the back corner for, like, it's going to be like a deck. So, like, it could be a sun deck or, like, a fire pit deck or whatever.
Oh my God, how cool.
Yeah, but they don't do, like, the landscaping plants. So now then I'm going to need to hire, like, a nursery or whatever to come and like plant plants for me. So I need to know. I want like
so they just kind of space it out
hedges.
though of like the
Yes.
plants will be here, but then you get someone to
Yes.
buy the plants. Okay.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
That's like the coolest thing about this, like, because I just don't know anything about anything plant wise, but I was like, I really want to like learn and figure this out, because I know that like you can build a garden and it can be like really like it can really just sustain itself, especially after like the first or second season. So there's so many types of hedges. Like you can like literally just filter. Like you pick your zone like of where you live, and you can pick like how much maintenance you want and everything. So you could pick stuff that's gonna thrive in Arizona, and it's gonna grow tall and it like looks pretty. Versus I was like, oh, the only option I have is like boxwoods or whatever. And it's like there's so many more options now that I've gotten to the site. And then they have like example gardens. So you can be like, oh, I like the look of this. What's in it? And then it like breaks it down of like where it is and like what's in it and all of the details. So
this is really niche, but I always
cool.
wanted a garden that looked like the garden in 17 again when he redoes the wife's garden.
I don't remember.
It's so pretty. Like there's just like string lights and like it's so like little magical. I love it. I love jasmine for Arizona. Like how it climbs and is very viney.
Yeah, I would like to like have maybe a vine on some wall, but like the back wall, I want it to be like. I also want to get my walls painted white, like
outside. Oh,
yeah, and then I'll have.
When is this happening?
I think it's gonna be like in 2 or 3 weeks that they're gonna do the. Yeah, that was another thing. It was very quick, and they get it done in like one day, and I'm like, okay, yeah, let's just fucking do it. It's cheaper than I thought it was gonna be. And it's going to be quick as fuck.
Exciting.
If I would have contacted them like a week ago, it could have been done by the time you guys came.
That's so crazy, actually.
I know.
Wow.
Well, that's amazing that they can like get it done so quickly, but it's also nice that you'll be able to like utilize your backyard for the summer, like with the turf and everything.
Put a little pool on the turf and stuff. Yeah.
That's so nice.
That's so cool. We were just
last year I had to put like pads on the rocks in order to put my pool on the rocks.
I was going to ask you that. Like
exactly what I did. But
how does that work? Is the turf going to be like too hot? Like would it melt your pool?
I don't think so.
They make like cooling.
I'll put like an umbrella and stuff.
Yeah. That'll be so nice. Maybe we could pitch Walmart for that too. Like the furniture for backyard.
Yeah. Yes, that would be so nice.
Walmart has great patio stuff.
That's where I got our patio set, actually. Yeah. Love it.
They have so much cute furniture, actually. I keep seeing it just like in ads.
Yeah, it's so cute. We just did like a little drawing of like how we want to maybe do the backyard and kind of make like a grass area rather than it all being grass, like and add more landscaping and just very complicated. So I'm going to look up that website, Britt. That's very helpful.
It's really nice. I also think there's like it's been a little bit overwhelming. That's why I got the planner tool, so I could be like, okay, this is like what I want in this corner, what I want in this corner. But there's some stuff that like you can plant in the spring, and other stuff it's like wait till the fall. So it's like that also helped me like be a little less overwhelmed, because I'm like, okay, I'll do this part of the year and then save up and then like get the other stuff.
Yeah, my friend Maddie said that this last year they got like kind of the strawberry, and instead of strawberry seeds, like the ones that are already kind of grown, you know?
Yeah, like starters.
Like it's just like the little, like the starters. So then she didn't start till it was warm enough in like May, but then they were still able to get the vegetables.
That's good.
In the summer.
I bought a lot of those too. I bought like things that were already like,
I'm sure I'll fail at it. I can almost guarantee.
It's just, I don't know. I think I'm gonna have better luck. My grandma was really good with gardens, so I'm like, maybe it passed a little bit.
Same, but my mom's kind of not great. She calls herself like a black thumb or something.
A black thumb.
It's not good. But we used to have a garden when I was little, and we had watermelon and strawberries and cantaloupe.
That's so my mom always did such a good job of like gardening, but I just like she had raised beds, which I think do make a difference.
Yeah, we just got some of those too.
Then you get like really fertile soil. Like you can make it like really good soil.
Oh, that makes
Because if
so
they're
much
raised,
sense.
you have to like fill them with stuff. So you like fill them with like manure and compost
Yeah, then it's
and
fully
like
separate.
all the things. So you don't have to rely on the ground, which like our ground is clay. So that's like really hard.
What?
I don't know.
That's
It'd
crazy.
be nice to just move into a new house that already had a garden that was like going and running itself.
Yeah.
We honestly toured several houses that had that, and like a lot of them said that they were taking a lot of the stuff. You know, like it was kind of
wow.
landscaped
Rude.
for a garden, but like
What?
they were taking a lot of the like
Plants?
garden things.
Imagine if I was like selling my house and I was like, but I'm going to take the bushes. Like,
That's literally
I'm always
JC.
surprised, like, when can they like I don't know that many houses where you like take your own like fridge and like appliances. But
Yeah,
there's
it
some
is
like houses
interesting.
that do that, and I'm like,
you can.
huh, that's so
Yeah,
weird.
our cigars and then they left like random shit like the shed and stuff. It's like, okay, we don't need that. You should have taken
They
that.
took all of their appliances?
Not the oven. Not the oven.
I had to write into the contract that I wanted to keep the washer and dryer because they would have taken it.
Wow.
I had
I know
more
it was
leverage
like
back
written
then
in
too,
ours,
buying.
but I just thought it was pretty standard to like just give them all the stuff. I guess I didn't buy any of it new, so I just didn't really care.
Yeah, like it probably depends what the appliances are.
I did. When I was selling my house though, our like washer and dryer was broken, so I like bought a new one, and I like didn't read the fine print carefully of like what size I bought. So I bought like a mini washer and dryer that was like it was just like noticeably small. I was like, but like they had already put it in before I like realized it, and I was like, I just don't fucking care. Like if this was my house, and the worst thing was I think the difference between like the size I got and the next size was like maybe $20. So like it was just
I didn't even know they made little mini ones.
it is just not my issue. So it was whatever.
That's so funny. Did they say anything?
I think one person when they were touring, they're like, this is like a little bit smaller, like in unit washer dryer. I was like, oh no. Like,
hey,
sorry.
at least it's in unit, bitch.
Yeah.
You guys probably moved from like a small, like non-washer and dryer unit in Chicago, so just be grateful.
Yeah. Be grateful. Well, we should probably start the podcast.
Yeah.
Welcome back to another episode of So Glad We're Friends. I'm Maggie.
I'm Devin.
I'm Brittany.
I saw in our YouTube comments that people did not know we had a YouTube until we talked about it at the end of the podcast last week. So if you do not know we have a YouTube channel, you can go watch us at any point. All of our episodes are on video.
And we're slowly trying to make it more visually appealing. Brittany is under construction currently, but we have these cute little curtains. We're working on getting like good quality video.
I think it's great. No, it is. It still matches semi, but you're under construction. we can't help that. You cannot help that. There's nowhere else to go.
When I was editing the episode that came out today, Brittany's like lighting and background looked so good. I was like thinking you should do photos in that spot. Like just like the color of everything, it just looked so good. Maybe because you're wearing a green hat too or something, but I was like,
I mean, the pink looks good
nice.
too right now. You should take
it's a great wall color, guys.
It is. Is it alabaster?
No. Remember, alabaster was gray in my house.
Oh, it was too gray. Yes.
It's Whitetail by Sherwin-Williams.
Whitetail. Dovetail?
Whitetail.
Okay.
Dovetail is definitely is the wrong color. It's a different color.
Okay.
I looked at that one too.
So many whites. She's very passionate about her whites.
I know, but I also like, it was one of those moments. I walked into my house when they first painted. I was like, "Do I actually like this?" I was like, "I can't do anything about it. I literally can't do anything." Okay, I'm gonna say the rest of my little like thoughts for the
yeah. You can talk about train. If you guys are listening to this on the day it came out, we did a live stream yesterday, so hopefully that went well to future us. But if you'd like to watch our live stream, it's still available on our Patreon along with all of our other bonus episodes. So you can go to patreon.com/sogladwerefriends and go check that out. I'm sure it was a great live. We had so much fun.
I'm sure it was so fun. I hope we got trashed and
spilled the tea.
No, not that.
Not trashed.
Not trashed. Not spilling tea. It was probably really unexciting then.
No, it was super exciting. It was the most exciting thing you'll ever listen to.
It was a chill hangout
that you'd love to be a part of. So go join. But anyways, for today's topic, last time I was in Arizona, my sister was telling me about this book that she read called The Anxious Generation. And then I was like, oh, that sounds so interesting and whatnot. And she told me I should not really pay attention to it until I have kids. Like, she was like, you'll definitely need to reread it when you have children. But then this man who's the author of the book, what is his name? Jonathan Haidt. How do you think you say it? Haidt? Haidt.
He said it. Haidt? Like that's what it is.
Haidt. Okay.
I think
Jonathan Haidt. He was on Armchair Expert, as you know. We love Armchair Expert. And it was a great podcast, and it just made me so interested in the topic. So I started looking up everything that this man has done. But so the book is basically about how the great rewiring of childhood is causing an epidemic of mental illness. And it argues that the spread of smartphones, social media, and overprotective parenting has led to a rewiring of childhood and a rise in mental illness. So we were going to talk about like our own experiences growing up, because just those years, like me and Devon are 7 years apart. That's like the largest difference of technology in those years. That was like the biggest change.
Not just 7 years, but your year of like birth, like in ages and everything, was kind of the biggest gap that he was talking about.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's interesting now too with like kids developing now having TikTok, because like us having Facebook and Instagram was one thing, but even now I'm addicted to the endless scrolling dopamine hits.
The craziest thing though was like our key development years, like me and Dev especially, like we were phone free, like and most people in my high school like didn't have smartphones until like there was one of two in my freshman class, because we were like the first class in our school. There was me and one other guy had an iPhone. We were the only two people in the whole school who had iPhones.
When you were a freshman?
2008 to 2009. Yeah. And then
wow, and that was that was your first phone, or did you have flip phones?
I had a flip phone. Of course I had the Razor. I had a hot pink Razor.
Such a cool girl.
And then in 6th grade I had like a flip phone. But
wait, so when 6th grade you got your first flip phone, or before that?
Just 6th grade was just a flip phone, and like there was no internet. It was literally just to call my parents, and no one else really had phones at that time, so I was not really texting anyone either. So
when did you get your stuff?
I got a brick phone for my birthday in 7th grade. It was a Nokia brick phone, and then the fun thing about like flip phones and stuff was like I went through so many fucking different phones. Like they were cheap. I would switch with my friends. Like we would just switch SIM cards. Like
what?
I have gone through so many different phones. I had like one flip phone, that one broke. I got another one. I had a Sidekick for a few months. I had a Razor. I had Blackberries, and then I think I got an iPod, an Apple iPhone. Jesus, in my senior year, like maybe for my birthday or maybe even after my senior year. Honestly, I can't really remember.
You would be probably your freshman year, because they came out when I was a freshman in high school.
Damn, so you got it right when it came out?
Mm-hmm.
How iconic. So it was like the iPhone 1?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so crazy. I remember my best friend's dad had it, and it was like he was the only one kind of we even knew who had an iPhone. Like nobody in my family or anybody had that. My mom had a Palm Pilot. I remember. I loved her little Palm Pilot with the little pin.
Yes. And for some reason, like we had so many different phones. Like now
that's
it's
crazy.
just
You would switch with your
boring
friends.
iPhone.
What?
Yeah, or like my sister. One time I let my sister use my Sidekick at school one day, and it got taken away from her at school.
I'd be so
And
pissed.
yeah, I was pissed. I mean, it was my whole family was
The
pissed.
Sidekick was
because
the one that
they
like
kept
flipped
it
up,
after
right?
school. Yeah, with the keyboard.
Yeah.
I
Oh.
would just like, it was like having a fidget spinner. Like I would
Yeah.
just flip the screen back and forth all day. Like just, oh, it was so fun.
So
Phones
people
were
like
so
definitely
novel back then.
Yeah, like people had the flip phones and everything, but I wasn't allowed to have a phone. And in my family, it was always, they said when I turned 16. And for my siblings, it was when they turned 16. So like everyone had flip phones and I was really jealous and wanted a flip phone. And then when my parents got divorced the summer before 8th grade, they got me an iPhone. And that was like my very first phone. And I remember being like a little bratty about it because I wanted a flip phone. I was like, I can't believe I got this. Like, I wanted to experience a flip phone.
Yeah.
Like, that's so
funny.
ridiculous.
Wow, that is crazy that you never had like
Never.
the fun phones.
Never. And like, I assume I had an iPod before. Like, I want to say I probably got an iPod for like my 10th birthday or something.
Like a touch one?
Yeah, like a Nano probably first. I think I had a Shuffle maybe too.
I had a Shuffle.
Because I think Jake and Logan had the iPods that looked like an iPhone.
The touch.
But it was just,
I definitely had that, but I'm trying to remember like
I don't think I ever got
what
one
even
of those.
grade I was in.
I think I had like an iPod Nano and then an iPod Shuffle.
Mm-hmm. And it's just very interesting of like, I would say maybe I would compare like Tumblr to TikTok the most, of that it was very unregulated and just constant scrolling where I saw inappropriate things for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess it's not as like mind stimulating as video content for sure.
Yeah.
Or like the addictive nature. Like Tumblr I don't think was like really that addictive. Like you would it was kind of like Pinterest in a way where you're like just creating your own like board.
Mm-hmm.
It did give you the chance to expand your mind and like hear from other people's at like point of views and troubles and whatever, which is a big thing with social media today now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't like that addictive, like, or the algorithm where it's like they keep showing it to you over and over and over again. That's the toxic part, true. I think, is just the algorithm that really digs in there and can change your mind so fucking quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For the better or worse.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to like the overprotectiveness of like letting children free roam, because a huge thing he talks about is like the statistics of kidnappings and whatnot. It's not like it's drastically gone up or anything. It's just that we're more aware of these things and parents are more scared of letting their kids do that. And like for sure in my neighborhood, I didn't have any like neighborhood kids. There was nobody my age that I would like go play outside with. So it was mostly like my elementary school friends would come over and whatnot. And like we definitely were not allowed to like go just walk around the neighborhood versus like my siblings were playing like Ghosts in Graveyard or whatever. Like that was like at night with their neighborhood friends. Like, and I was definitely not allowed to do that. So it felt like then getting my phone was like, felt like I had access to more things or I could learn more things, or that was the freedom
that's so interesting.
First that I got to experience, to like learn more, make friends, explore, like do all these things. Because I think literally there was a Sonic like a mile from my dad's house. And me and my friend Savannah were allowed to walk to that Sonic, I think in 8th grade was like the first time we were allowed to like walk there. And it was like just through neighborhoods. And that walk was like so fun. Like that felt like freedom.
He lined it up too with like the kid. Like he said what I thought was interesting, and I obviously didn't really know this, but like it was way more dangerous in like the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. And then like it started becoming more safe. But because of like expanding networks and like just TV and like I don't even know all the different things that were happening. I can't remember.
24-hour news cycle.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, then people started becoming more scared, even though before it was like more dangerous. And I fully remember just being like terrified of being kidnapped. Like those were the stories my parents were telling me. And I'm like, that's so interesting. But I really liked what he said about like what happened. Like people were in discover mode before, and now they're just like in defend mode. Like how can we like prevent anything from happening versus being like, okay, I'm going to be discovering and learning new things, but I'm just going to be a little cautious about it. Like most people have like switched completely to the opposite thing.
Like they would rather just keep their kid in the house safe.
Yeah.
This is what I struggle with as a dog parent. Like, and I'm like, how am I going to do this when I have kids? But also like Willow, I don't have as much control of her brain or like what's going on or whatever. But like, I know she would love to go to the dog park, like, for example, every day. But I'm too scared of something happening. So we just don't go to the dog park. So I'm taking that away from her because I don't want her to get in a fight or get like die or run away or whatever.
But that's like, even maybe this is like related to dogs too, but like another big thing that he was saying was like, we're taking the ability for kids to assess their own risk and like self-supervise and like figure out these cues. Like as you're growing up, you're supposed to like be able to learn all these things. Like that's part of your like development, but we're like taking it away from them because we're like, everything is dangerous. So like,
and then because it's taken away, they don't know how to do that online to assess risks and know when situations are dangerous.
When I was a kid, I was very much aware of stranger danger. I was terrified. My parents did a good job of making me terrified, but then I also had the freedom. So like, I mean, I would be walking home from school, and if a car drove past, I would run up to a door and hide behind like something because I was afraid that they were gonna kidnap
So you walked
me.
home from school though? Like that was like normal? Oh wow.
So like giving us the information, but then also allowing us to have the freedom to make our own decisions. But also I do think that contributes to my anxiety, why I'm so anxious, because I was told to be so terrified of everything. Even though I had the freedom and I wasn't tied to a social media account, I was still told
That's
to
what's
be
so
scared.
weird. And
Well,
like I thought
you said that your mom, Dev, would just like tell all of these like horrible, like she would relay bad news stories, right? So, but she's like in her head, she's like, oh, it's not really a big deal. But to you, you're like another check mark to like, life is dangerous, life is dangerous, life is dangerous. Like, be scared kind of thing.
Yeah, totally.
definitely.
The other thing I was like really geeking out on was like the dopamine side of things with regards to like how schools are like trying to gamify everything to make people more engaged, but it's like creating this quick dopamine, like just like quick bursts of dopamine in your brain. And so you're like depleting all your dopamine. You're basically changing your brain's chemistry so that it's not like making as much dopamine as it should. And then they're getting bored. So it's just like this constant feedback loop, and then add in smartphones and like other stimulating things. And so they're just like bored all the time. And that's why they're creating these like, you know, making math fun with games and stuff. But it's like, it's so destructive because there's no sort of like long dopamine like reward system that they're experiencing.
Yeah. Starting even with like Cocomelon.
Dangerous. Yeah, I think that has been the most detrimental to our society as a whole is the quick dopamine. Because you can still force your kids to play outside with their friends, or you know, like we can still keep our kids off social media until they're 16 or whatever, but like still the quick dopamine fixes are being added in their school lives, and they're you know, it's just,
I even just think though, like even as an adult now, I'm like, how many things am I allowing myself to like kind of experience like a long dopamine effect, like where I have to like work towards something and then I get the reward, versus like I want to find the easy way. I feel like obviously like as humans, I feel like you're just naturally wired to try and find like the easiest way to do something, but there is so much reward, like especially with like all of this housework of like you have to put in a lot of work and effort and then you get to like have your reward kind of thing. Like how often are we doing that?
Not often.
Yeah, but like even like when I'm doing things that would take a long time to get the dopamine hit from, like when I'm bored, I pick up my phone to get that dopamine hit, you know? It's like having a vape. Every time you need a little hit, you grab it and take a puff. Like I'm typing an email, I'm 5 minutes in, and then I'm like, I need my phone. Like I'm so bored. Like,
yeah. But like that feeling of being bored that was so normal as a child. Like I remember that so frequently when me and my friends would go to my parents and be like, we're bored. Like, what should we do now? And like I even had a book thing that was like, what to do when you're bored. And it had like a list of all the fun little things. Like write a song, go play outside, whatever.
Write a song.
Yeah. That was just more of a normal feeling because like what else are you gonna do, I guess.
Yeah. And I thought it was interesting that he made this distinction too of like, it's not necessarily like phones are bad. It's like fragmenting your time is what is like the worst part, which is like basically where you're just like on one task and then you get a notification, so you jump to something else and then you like jump to another thing and then to another thing. And I was like, I feel like that's a really good distinction. But obviously most people are going to take away like phones are bad, like get rid of them, like everything, like just take it all away. And it's like how can you kind of like find a better medium maybe where it's like you can still have a phone, but like it's just maybe limited with what you have on it or something.
And even the difference between like big screens and little screens of like, I think that I love TV and I think TV has always been a huge part of my life, like since childhood. And I don't think that was bad in any way, or maybe I just like that. But like I have so many bonding memories with my parents watching TV at night, and like I love entertainment and TV. So I don't think that affected my like attention spans or anything like that nearly like a sliver as an amount of a phone for sure.
My parents like implemented quiet time. I don't know when it stopped, but like we would like, especially up till kindergarten, we would have to go to our room like by ourselves for like an hour. And like we didn't
like
we didn't have computers. So you could like play with Barbies, you could play with, toys, whatever you wanted to do. But like you just had to be quiet in your room for an hour.
Yeah.
That's the kind of structure I so badly craved as a kid. Like I would play games with myself where I'd be like, okay, now we're going to go have quiet time. I used to like wish that I would be grounded because I didn't know what that was like.
Wait, that's so cute.
My parents absolutely, I was free range child, like to the max, like do whatever the fuck you want.
That's so interesting, kind of.
But my parents also, because
you were also well behaved,
that it wasn't a bad thing, by the way, too. Like it wasn't like a
you're not in trouble
to go to quiet time. It was like your alone time. But like I definitely was like, you're ruining my life. This was like horrible because
really
I just wanted to be with people.
Well, that's interesting of like personality wise, because like my sister does that with my nephews too, and like one of them loves to read and is more quiet and independent and loves that, and then the other one is like little chatterbox entertainment boy and he does not. That makes sense. Yeah, and I was like a reader as a kid, so I don't think my parents didn't have to like make me. I don't think, I was just wanting it. But it is interesting of like, I do feel like my anxiety and what I remember as anxiety and depression started when I got a phone. But that's also when my parents got divorced and also when a lot of trauma happened. And then I also started birth control the year after. So I'm like, what? That could be so many different factors contributing. But I think it does line up with that specific time.
Well, my argument for this, like Dax was talking about that he's mass hysteria. He's like adding to the mass hysteria. And I'm taking Dax's side on this because also you and I grew up, we are separated by that generation divide where you had a smartphone in high school and I didn't. And we both have like an equivalent level of anxiety. Mm-hmm. And like Jonathan even said something about like, if you were born before this date, then your mental health is probably fine. He literally said that. I wrote it down because I was like, no, that is completely incorrect.
Mm-hmm. I know.
And Logan grew up, Logan is younger than you, Maggie, and her mental health is like 1,000 times better than mine.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I really don't think that it's just social media is the devil and it's making everybody have anxiety. Like, I
was also, as an 8th grader-ish, I was kind of fascinated with mental illness in a way. Like, I don't know if that's because of Tumblr or anything, but it was almost like, not like I wanted to be anxious or depressed, but kind of in a sense of like...
Well, he quoted too, he's like, having mental illness is like a prestige now. Like, it's like a status thing, not necessarily...
I also didn't like that.
I think it's true.
Maybe...
I can see it. Like,
but I think that we're all just very much more aware of our feelings and our anxiety and our like mental
Like, I
health.
didn't know the word anxiety then. Like, that isn't even a thing. But I think people experience those feelings and just didn't have a name for it. And now maybe it's gone way too far.
But he
of,
also
like,
said, though, he's like, people, it's been like like awareness has been increasing since the 70s with it. It hasn't just been like now. Which I didn't know that either.
Well, but social media has been able to give us access to so many people outside of our immediate community. Like, yeah, the 20 people in my immediate community didn't have anxiety. But then once I was given the ability to reach out to people all over the world, then I start hearing their stories and seeing how I'm connecting to them and how I have these symptoms and how I feel this way too. Like, in the 70s, you weren't able to expand outside of like your small circle of people that you see every day.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting to see like the amazing benefits of like, because he was saying it's like the super connection, like being online versus just being more connected. And I feel like there's so many benefits of like the super connection of like really getting to relate to people and connect with people and like learn people's stories all over the world. But then there's like also like it just increases obviously more like stories about like really bad things happening or like other, you know, issues that you may not need to know or like want to know.
Mm-hmm. It's very odd. Like, for example, like the fire starting because of like dryer lint or something. Like, you see a story on TikTok of that, and like ever since I see a little story about that, about dogs dying in a house fire, I like need to check all those little things. And that, I guess, gives you anxiety in a lot of ways, because then those thoughts are in your head that you wouldn't have ever thought of. But then in a way, doesn't it also help you be prepared for certain things or like learn? Because I think that's so, like, whenever anybody dies in life, kind of the first thing, even you don't want to ask and it's rude, but your kind of first instinct is like, how did they die? Because you don't, like, as a natural, you don't want to die, like, as a person, as a human. So you want to, you're very curious about that. It's just very interesting. I don't know where I was going with that. What was the first part of what I was saying?
Like when you see the dryer lint in your house fire.
Oh yeah, like, so that it, in one hand, it makes me more prepared because I like know all those situations, and maybe I am stopping a house fire in my house. Possibly, there's a slight chance that that's happening. Otherwise, I wouldn't have ever seen that. So, is that good or is that bad? Because like, if we were maybe in an individual community, I wouldn't have ever had that thought unless my best friend's house caught on fire.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's such a double-edged sword, because then it's also like, is it something that's like looming in the back of your mind now? You're like, oh my God, like my house is on fire because of lint? Or is it like, oh, it's just something, you know, I'm going to be good about cleaning my lint trap out and that's it. It's like done.
Yeah, well, that's the difference, I think, is if you are mentally healthy or not. Like, if you have OCD, then you're going to be hyper focused on that. You're going to be so worried that your house is going to catch on fire every time you start the dryer. But if you don't have mental health problems, then you're just going to make sure your lint dryer is always cleaned out. And, you know, that was helpful information. I don't think it made you have OCD. It's just like it, you know, it's not like the chicken or the egg. It's literally like the egg came first or whatever.
I do think that it's interesting. Like, he focuses a lot on like girls versus boys, but he's like starting to like get more research on males too. But
which is interesting because girls are never studied. Like, that was very interesting to me.
I know. I thought that was, because that's like, yeah, I feel like that's not the norm, especially in kids. But he's just saying like how girls are generally more socially aware, and as a result, they're more easily influenced by things, like especially in terms of kind of like fitting in, like, oh, I need to look like this in order to be like, so, because like these girls are popular, so like by like, especially, you know, a young brain, the obvious connection for them is to just be like, oh, like I have to look like this in order to be accepted, or like to have friends, or to insert whatever, to be successful even, probably.
For sure.
And I feel like that's such a big thing. And I feel like that's where like I've been probably the most impacted by social media, is like I need to do these things in order to do like X, Y, and Z sort of things. But I
But
guess
boys
like
do the same thing. It's just not as obvious. But I mean, all boys had like that same fucking haircut where they look like Justin Bieber. Like they all also are influenced and wanting to all be manly or be like, you know, all the same because they want to fit in.
yeah. Are they as
That is
easily influenced
interesting.
though? Like
I think that they are. I mean, the fact that all the boys have the same, I mean, even today, all boys have the same fucking haircut, like this big, like hair. Like they all are influenced by
I feel like
each
they
other.
are, but it's not as like discussed. Like they're probably not going
Right,
to
they're
each other
not
like talking about their haircuts.
vulnerable. Yeah.
Yeah.
or it's maybe like it's not as big of an impact as like, okay, fuck, I need to get my ass bigger in order to be like socially accepted. Like, or I
They
need to
need to
like
get their pecs bigger or their arms bigger. Like if they're too skinny, then they're going to be drinking protein shakes 5 times a day because they're trying to like bulk up.
I'm trying to think of like in middle school, because it's like you already do compare. Like my best friend Morgan was like the coolest girl in school, and I would always compare myself to her before social media. Like I'd be like, oh, she's allowed to straighten her hair, she's wearing mascara, she's wearing makeup, like all of those things. I thought, oh, I need to do that to be cool based on this one girl. But then social media and Tumblr really in middle school unlocked a million more girls where I'm like, oh, I need that body, I need to be doing this, I need to be eating this and whatnot. So it just like opened it up, even though I was already having those thoughts and comparing myself to the people in school. It just like drastically opened it. Yeah, which I wonder if with boys, I don't know because I'm not a boy and that wasn't my Tumblr, but like I feel like there was probably less, like there was genuinely less male like influencers and stuff for those people at the first starting. It was mostly girls.
Yeah, and also I just think girls are a lot more honest and aware of how social media is affecting them, and that's why it's easier to study them right now.
That's
because
very,
I mean,
very true.
in his research, he asked people like, do you wish TikTok was never invented? And you know, a lot of them said yes, they wish that it was never invented.
That's so interesting. I wrote that down too. Because I was like, but then why don't you stop using it?
Yeah, I know. That's the thing.
Because it was 48% of Gen Z wanted to get rid of it.
Yeah. That's crazy.
48. That's like a huge number.
And I don't think our generation would have said that about Instagram or Facebook or MySpace or any of them.
What else was I interested in? Oh, I thought it was interesting where I don't always love how Dax is so like, let me play devil's advocate, but I liked how he did it in this episode because he said a lot of things I like didn't really think about.
Yeah, I'm on his side in this episode. Like,
well, I feel like in the between, I think both of them are right in different ways.
Yeah, but I do think he's taking it to extremes.
Yeah, but
because as human beings, as parents, we have the ability to, you know, make sure our kids are not on social media, and you know, we have the choice. If TikTok is ruining our lives, delete the fucking app. Like,
but I don't think like if he were to write a book that's like, more
just be a little careful, just be cautious. People are gonna be like, okay, bye.
That's not interesting.
It's not. What's it called? It's not. I don't fucking know what I was gonna say. I
feel like I can't think of words right now.
But Dax said, he's like, okay, well, there's been a lot of improvements within like the newer generations for lower teen pregnancies, less alcohol. What else was there? Like less
like car accidents, things like
car
that.
Accidents and everything.
More open-minded, more politically engaged. There's so many benefits to social media.
But
then mental health.
But I thought it was very interesting because he's like, probably because they're not being as social. They're not like interacting with as many people like in real life. And they're like addicted to other things. So maybe they're not addicted to alcohol, but they're addicted to like gambling or video games or porn or like or social media even, like for their dopamine.
See, I'm not buying it.
Why aren't you buying it?
Because why can't they be addicted to both? Like, yeah, you could. I drink alcohol and am obsessed with my phone, like.
But I wouldn't say you're an alcoholic.
No, I know, but that's not why people aren't drinking as much or deciding. I think people are deciding not to drink as much these days is because of the information they're getting from social media. How it's bad for you, all the reasons that it is bad for you. And if it's gotten to their brains before they became like reliant on alcohol. Because like I didn't really start drinking a lot until I was like 25. So if I would have been influenced as to how bad alcohol is for me, then maybe I never would have even like became reliant on it.
Mm-hmm. And I was like that all through high school. I was like, you're a horrible person for drinking. Like I would stop being friends with people. Like,
yeah, oh my God, you got drunk?
Yeah.
I remember I was so mad when
you
girls
need to
were
be
smoking.
shamed. Yeah.
She was,
oh
like,
my
smoking
I would
in ninth grade, and I was like, I can't even look at you.
Oh,
literally. I was like, I'm so much better than all of you. So that was a thing in a way. I think things like maybe teen pregnant, but then that can also be education. Like, oh, maybe parents are just having more sex talks than our parents did, like because they're more open and whatnot. Maybe they're teaching how to be safe actually, when like a lot of us didn't even get a sex talk.
Yeah. I just like to argue with his points. I'm playing devil's advocate too.
I think it all probably just affects each other in different ways, and like it's not necessarily one way or the other.
Yeah.
I just think that I think it's like interesting, and like hopefully like when people, I don't know, I think it's good that Dax had a conversation with him in this, because I'm sure there's different things that people are taking. Like even Dax said his mom's like, the thing that she took away was like, phones are the devil. Like just throw everything away. And that's like obviously not, he's like, that's not my full message, but that's like what people are getting at sometimes from it.
Yeah.
But it's like, I hope that more people are getting like the overarching message of like, how can you be more cautious around social media, and like how can you encourage and not be so overprotective. I feel like that's also a huge part of his message. It's not just social media. It's like, let your kids be fucking kids and like learn shit on their own, and stop being like, you know, preventing them from learning their own lessons.
Yeah.
He
But
didn't really
it's
talk
just, like-
about, or did I miss like
What?
the freedom, like giving your child freedom online specifically? Is he also saying that, or he's saying more like?
I don't think so. I hope not, because I don't think kids need more
Freedom
freedom
in
online.
real life. IRL.
I think in real life, like more life experience.
Yeah.
Because I think that this also like a lot of the stuff that I was thinking about, especially in terms of like people wanting just quick dopamine, it creates like really bad workers. And like you're not going to be very successful in school or in life. Like school's not fucking easy. Like no one's creating a game for you in college to learn. Like
Quizlet is.
figure that
Yeah, maybe
out for yourself.
But in your job. They're not.
But like, you know, so I feel like I think getting people these like unregulated dopamine systems like is really impacting things really long term. So it's maybe not like, oh my God, I'm not seeing the things like right now, but like in 15 years, 20 years, when they're like interviewing for a job and they don't get the job on the first interview and they have to go through like 6 interviews, like, are they going to last? Like, those are the sort of things I feel like are more impactful than just like, okay, get off your phone type of things.
Yeah. And I definitely think this message is good. Like parents need to take it seriously. Like don't just give your 12-year-old free access to the internet, especially boys. It is so bad for them. The way that they're learning to hate women and just be this toxic masculinity shit is so bad for these young boys' developing brains. Like
as a parent, you can't control the algorithm of anything.
Exactly.
And that's like, no matter how many controls and parental controls you put on it, you can't control that and what they're interacting with. So that would just be terrifying.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine. Is there even a TikTok like kids version? You know what I mean? Like, is there parental controls of blocking certain types of videos even on TikTok?
Well, aren't you
like, because
supposed
I know
to be
with
18 years
Instagram
or
there
older on TikTok?
Yeah, there is no reason for a
No, I think
child to
it's
be on
13.
TikTok. That is just fucked
You know,
up.
actually, my friend Emily, who said she likes your Instagram, she was talking to me last week. Her niece has like a kid's version of TikTok. It's called Cover Star. And I asked her, I was like, is it owned by TikTok? Like, I don't understand that. But apparently when you sign up, it asks, like, it's connected to TikTok somehow. And it's all children. And so her niece had her, like, join this, and she made a video with her niece. And now she's getting, like, hella children followers. And she's like, this is so weird. This is so weird. But I'm very confused about that. Like,
that's
what?
Weird.
That is really
just
strange.
don't even give them, like, don't teach them. Don't make them think that this is something they need. If you don't have it, then you're not missing it. You know, you don't know what you're missing until you have it, kind of thing.
And the thing of like making videos and whatnot, like that is so fun. Kids do that, but you can do that without.
Yeah, get them like a camcorder or something.
I do think there's
or a
like
phone with no apps.
There has to be a balance though, because like I wasn't allowed to have AIM, like, and I wasn't allowed to have Facebook until like I think I was supposed to only get it in high school. But I like made an account in 8th grade, and it was like I was like smoking or like drinking. Like that's how bad it was. Like my punishment was like, why the fuck did you do that? Yeah, I don't know how, but
you probably made your name like just slightly off or something.
No, I fucking used my full name. I said it with my full chest. I was like,
another Pen 15 episode you guys need to watch. When they first get AOL, it's so fucking funny. Pen 15. Yeah.
It was like one of those things that I think was like too overprotective. Like, and it's like, but at what point? Because he's saying like, okay, your kids shouldn't have social media until 16. I think I would have like died if I didn't have social media until 16.
That's what is already even, like, hard is like
Facebook, you know, like
that's nothing. And like I felt really less than for not being able to have those things, and all my friends having phones and me not having one. Like it felt not like I felt weird and like not cool at all. And I can only freaking imagine how that is now and how young kids get cell phones, like to navigate wanting to protect your kid, but then also wanting them to feel like a part of their own community and like a part of things. Because then what, like all your friends are having group chats and then your kid is the one like not in it, like that would be hard.
I know. I also think it's like I don't know what type of like controls there are, but I think it's also like even just in college, like followers were like such a big thing, and like fucking weird people would follow me on like my personal account, like, and I would just let them, and I'm like at the because I like wanted the followers, I wanted the like, you know, vibe. Same. But I was like, wait, why the fuck am I letting these people like follow me? Like that's so fucking weird looking back now. But like in freshman in college, I was like, I'm so badass. Like this is awesome. You want
the followers. Yeah.
So it's like, how do you kind of like but that's the overprotectiveness, I think, because I wasn't allowed to have some of these things when I was younger. So like no one's gonna have a conversation with me about like, oh, you shouldn't have this because XYZ.
And they didn't know. Your parents didn't have an Instagram and whatnot. So it's like they don't even know what to protect you from because it's new to everyone. That's crazy.
Also, I think it does suck too that he said obviously like lower classes are way more impacted by this than upper classes. Yeah. So I think that's also shitty.
Yeah, and does it just come down to these big corporations obviously wanting to make more money, whether that's like we need to create TV shows that are more engaging, we need to make these social media apps more engaging, like these big corporations caring less about the actual people and more about making money.
Yeah.
I could foresee like how kids would maybe be less social now, because I do think that maybe once I had my phone, like in 8th grade, it would be more like, oh, we'll go home and we all chatted online versus like come back to my house with me. My mom will pick you up from school with us. Like I do think it became less of that because it was a new experience and it was so fun to like chat online. Like so fun. It's going to be hard to be a parent. But I think everybody's doing their best at the end of the day. And our parents did their best with what they knew, and their parents did their best with what they knew. And we will do the same.
And I think every generation has this type of like, there's a new technology that we have to learn how to parent around.
Yeah.
Like definitely. For us, it was all the news and the being terrified of everything, you know?
Yeah, so many things. Or like even when we talked about before, like having those little TVs in the car for road trips, or like the little movie players, or like in the car when it actually came down. That was super cool. But like now they just have iPads, you know. So what's really the difference in a lot of ways? Like it's kind of the same thing. Very difficult. Yeah. Anything else?
I do think that social media brings a lot of positive.
Oh yeah, like do you think that you are more prepared for dealing with social media and negative comments and all of that because you've had social media for a long time now?
Because I've had it since it started or something. I mean, no.
Yeah.
I don't think you're ever prepared for that.
I feel like there could maybe be more education around those things too. Because there's obviously so many good things, like we've all been able to like work for ourselves because of social media. Like I would not be doing that if I didn't have social media. But like what are like educational tools that can be provided? Like maybe even in schools of like how do you protect yourself and like what are sort of things to do?
Yeah, I mean that's so smart. I mean, thinking about typing classes or something, it makes sense to teach you how to use the internet safely. I mean, learning what websites are actual articles to use versus like fake things, that is a huge part of school for us. So hopefully they would continue that.
Or creating content around it that kids will watch, like
actually
if it's
listen
a TV show, or like things that
not
they'll
like dare
actually be interested in that will
That's funny.
Like the way that Will and Grace made all of America more accepting of gay people, like those types of content that can be influential.
Yeah, that's very true. I think when I use my mom's Facebook, because like before I was allowed to have Facebook, I just use hers.
What were you looking at on there? Like, did your friends
did
have
you
them?
Reading her messages.
Sorry, Mom. Were they juicy?
Yeah, that's how I found out all my family tea. It's not good. Bad on my part. But I'd be like, I was friends with my friends because all my friends had Facebook. So I would just talk to them from her Facebook and comment and stuff, and then use a little dash and be like, Maggie.
That's so funny.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea how to be a parent. We shall see. I love that my sister is like ahead of me and that I get to watch her do all these things first and like discover this book. And
I do think
learn things.
That one thing like he was talking about is like having like your pod, like Dax has like his pod of people that have like a very similar like ethos and like thought process with things. I feel like that is very essential and important because then it's like
reward your kids for doing real life things,
or just like if all of your friends' kids or like your best friends, like your close circle, don't have phones, like it doesn't make it like weird.
But that probably has to do with class, of being able to find a school where like there's these parents who think the same way as you and likely have more money and whatnot, rather than like a public school where everyone is in different situations.
Yeah.
That option is not always realistic, but I do think it's realistic to influence your kids to care about at real life socialization, putting them in clubs or sports, or like giving them a place for their friends to always be hanging out, or things like that.
Yeah.
Fostering community at home.
Yeah, I would love to know, like, watch a child hang out now. That sounds so creepy. But like, of children going to hang out, like, do they go to just the family computer? Okay, not like that. But like when my nephews are playing or outside or something, they're very running around. They're like normal children and whatnot. I don't know if like they want to play video games and stuff, but they're not like, oh, let's go on the computer and play on the computer. Like they don't think that at all. Where my friends would be like opening photo booth immediately and like 100% on whatever family computer there was.
Yeah. I hope all the little girls that are like 13 years old and doing their little get readies with me things on social media are also playing school and dolls and
I know.
things like that
Mm-hmm.
when they're not recording those things. I hope that they still have that childhood imagination.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably spending like 2-3 hours editing their Get Ready With Me and then
I know. Fuck.
planning out content and taking pictures and uploading to LTK.
Well, by the time
That
they're
is
23,
crazy.
they're probably going to fucking hate that. So if, you know.
Probably. But do you guys remember like when you were that age though, if still certain products would be cool or like certain makeup and
Yeah,
whatnot?
like Dr. Pepper lip smackers.
See,
Jessica
I don't know. For
edible
me, it was
perfume.
like Urban Decay, like the Naked palette was popping like at that time. Like that's
In like 8th grade?
maybe it's YouTube. Maybe YouTube is what did it of like beauty tutorials and stuff.
I think
Yeah,
so.
Because
I didn't-
before
I
that,
didn't
it was
know
like
that
my
up
mom just had
until-
bare minerals. Like
I don't know
I
that I
didn't
knew
know
what
other
a
makeup.
naked palette was until college.
Same.
I literally got mine
it
in
was
8th grade.
only MAC. It was MAC in high school.
Mhm.
MAC was it.
Yep.
Yeah, I was like
when did
post
Sephora
Mac.
become a thing?
2012, 2011.
And when it first started, it wasn't as cool as
No,
it is now.
wasn't.
No, the Mac counter was like definitely the
Mac
coolest.
was
And
way
if you were a
cooler.
makeup artist, you wanted a job at the Mac counter for sure.
Mhm.
Okay. Well,
Was it earlier than we thought?
apparently it says launch in the US in 1999.
Oh, okay. Well, it was not popular at that point.
Well,
Yeah, it
it
wasn't.
was trash. So,
Yeah, Mac was so cool. And remember they did the like celebrity collabs for their lipsticks and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Those
It
were
was so
fun.
cool. Like, and I was just so jealous of the girls that worked there all the time in the mall. I'd be like, oh my God, you're the coolest girl I've ever seen.
Yeah.
That really makes sense, kind of, that YouTube brought that then and that now it's just TikTok. Because I definitely was like, I need all these products that these girls are using.
Because I didn't use YouTube and I didn't get into makeup until I got TikTok.
But that's interesting because YouTube was like 2007.
I know, but I just didn't.
if you weren't like on YouTube though, like I was never on YouTube.
No.
Because I guess like I wasn't watching until like 2011, 2010, maybe. I don't know. But if you're interested in this topic more, you can definitely read his book thing, Shish Generation, or you can listen to Armchair Expert. He was a guest on that. He also has a bunch of TED Talks and guests on a bunch of other podcasts. But it's super interesting. Let us know if you
apparently
agree
his
or
episode on
disagree.
Sam Harris was good.
Oh yeah, I wanted to listen to the Sam
Who is
Harris
Sam
one.
Harris?
I like him a lot.
He's like a really smart guy. I think he's like
I think
a
he's a
neuroscientist.
psychologist. Oh.
Is Sam Harris, is he English?
No. He has that meditation app we were talking about a few weeks ago. I was saying that if you can't afford to
sounds
pay
so
for it, you can
familiar.
email them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool.
My dad loves him.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I do recognize him.
Interesting. Cool. Well, thanks so much for listening. Like we said before, make sure you go subscribe to our Patreon if you want bonus content and to watch our live. We also have episodes in person coming soon and a vlog from our trip. So make sure you go subscribe, watch us on YouTube, leave us a rate and review wherever you listen to podcasts, and we'll see you next week. Love you. Bye.
Bye.